Welcome at yet another Tech Talk here at bestofhighendcom. Our guest is Bruno Putseis. Hello Bruno, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. He has, of course, two hats on, maybe more, but two of what we know about. That's Purify and Kii Audio. Let's talk about your latest Kii Audio product. That's the Kii 7 system. What is that really? Tell me.
Well, it is the kind of the kind of active speaker I've mentioned during an earlier talk, where we sort of try to squeeze every last bit of advantage out of the fact that it's an active system. Mm-hmm. So it builds on onto the heritage of the Kii 3. If I can use the word heritage for something that's been in existence for about 10 years. And which is it's a cardioid system. It's phase corrected, and it's a sealed system, so very compact for what it can do. And it was initially intended mostly just as a monitor for recording studios, so it was initially not set up to be a consumer product as well. But the reality in recording studios is that even a product like the Kii 3, which as audiophile consumers we might think is acceptably priced, for recording studios, that's a lot of money, because if when you run a studio, you have to ask yourself the question: am I going to ever earn this back? And even if, although generally people who borrow the Kii 3s end up buying them, but it's still it is a very difficult proposition. So the Kii 7 was initially said, okay, can we cut down the something like the Kii 3 so that we have something to offer to a market that is really a bit squeezed, and we didn't so much save money on the actual material usage, but in the construction. So in the Kii 3, that's a system with it's a system with a tweeter and a midrange, and on two woofers on the sides and two on the back. Yeah. And at low frequencies, the two on the sides and on the back collaborate to form a cardioid down to about 50 hertz, and so meaning that it's a really unfussy speaker when it comes to placement in a room. Mm-hmm. Whereas in the Kii 7, there's only the two side woofers, so it is only the mid-range in the front and the two side woofers that build a cardioid, and so it's not really possible to take it down to such a low frequency. So the actual turnover frequency is pegged at 125, mm-hmm. And that is a compromise. It means you really have to put the speaker hard with its back against the wall, but in quite a number of situations that's actually not really a disadvantage, and I mean you have to put it hard with its back against the wall if you want to get the whole advantage out of it. Of course, if you place it freestanding like any other speaker, it'll still work a bit better than a normal speaker. But if you really want the best out of it, then boundary is what we say. We use it as a boundary speaker. So that was a knowing compromise that we said. Well, of course, it's got fewer woofers. Mm-hmm. So at the deep bass, it'll run out of steam 6 decibels lower. Well, that's hardly a surprise. And it needs, and it is a bit fussier in terms of in terms of placement. But so long as you place it with the back directly against the wall, it's fine. So mm-hmm. those are just accepted compromises. What we get for that is that the whole electronics can fit in a separate box that just bolts onto the back of the speaker. And because the savings of the 2 extra woofers, that's not a lot of money, but the time spent putting a Kii 3 together is quite expensive. Whereas this one compromise actually allows us to sell a product practically for half the price of a Kii 3. I don't know the exact numbers. I'm not good with numbers when there's currencies involved. But yes, that was the basic idea. Of course, once you start designing, there have to be new electronics because you can't reuse the existing electronics. It just won't fit. So start again, and then of course you start looking through all what's available in terms of DSP chips and so on. And very quickly it turns out that nowadays there's no point in using a purpose-built DSP chip. You just use a big ARM core, and then of course you start fantasizing. Okay, but what more can we do? And so the first thing that we didn't very happy with is it's got an Ethernet connector on there, so you can use Dante, which is again very much a pro feature, or might be used in consumers' houses when it's custom installed.
Yep.
Otherwise, a consumer wouldn't be using Dante. Of course, next thing is how about putting streaming inside?
Of course.
And now we are landing with both feet in consumer domain because no one with the studio actually requires that. They don't require wireless. They don't require streaming. But we've always built the exact same product for both markets. So every Kii 7 has this function built in. It's completely done in software, so it doesn't cost any extra money. But that turns the speaker into a complete different proposition from the Kii 3. The Kii 3 is still a system that requires, let's say, a source. It doesn't require a preamplifier, but we have the little Kii Control box that we sell with them. That actually functions as a kind of a digital preamplifier, if you wish.
Yeah.
Because you need some knob to twiddle if you want to change the volume. Whereas on the Kii 7 we just have an app. It will work with the Kii Control, and that's typically will still be used like that in a professional context.
Yeah.
But consumers can just use it with an app, and if you then connect it to Spotify Connect, Cobus Connect, Tidal Connect, one of these, all three are currently operational. You can actually control volume with the native app of that particular service, so you don't even need to open the Kii app for that. So on the one hand, so on the one hand, the Kii 7 was a cost reduction exercise, and on the other end, it's again saying, okay, what can we do now that we have whatever it is that's inside the loudspeaker? And
we talked a lot about active speakers in previous tech talks,
Yeah.
and the way that the industry is moving forward, incorporating Class D amplification, but. Yeah, if we sum that up, then this is a true active studio monitor per se, if you want, because it ticks all the bells.
Boxes, yes.
The boxes, yeah. Don't remind me of that donkey again.
Yes, it is absolutely dual use, and it's borne out by the sales figures. So we shift about half into studios and half into consumers' homes, which actually it belies the common perception that studio monitors and hi-fi speakers sound different. I think that if they do, then it must be that at least one of them has compromises in performance. But if you have just a perfectly performing speaker, it'll sound great in a home, and it'll sound great in a studio. And with the added benefit that with a bit of luck, you will actually be listening to music on the exact same set of speakers that it was recorded on.
Yeah, I can confirm that, because I was always wondering, and that question has been in my head for years. Well, like, what is the difference now between a studio monitor and a good hi-fi speaker? But once I've had a good listening session with the Kii 7s, it became all clear. Just like you said, It's just when a speaker performs like it should be, there's no difference.
Exactly, because the thing is well, you're listening at home and you want to enjoy the music.
Yeah.
You're listening in a studio. You want to you want to be able to hear what you are doing. If you are dealing with loudspeakers that have serious technical compromises, then you end up with making different choices in the design of that speaker for those two goals. But if you can get the performance to such a level that there isn't really a compromise, then you end up with the same speaker.
Yeah. And we do a little editing in our video studio. We have to produce these videos and to post production then. So, but it's not like in any Hollywood studio. It's just like laying the voice in the background music and making it sound a little broadcasty, so that it sounds nice. But when you're doing some equalizing and compression, and you hear that over the keys, they are so revealing. In terms of you turn a knob like by 1 dB and you hear instant what you are doing. So that's for the purpose of using it as a studio tool. It's fantastic because the communication between what you are doing, the handling that you are doing, and hearing what you are trying to do in terms of getting to a certain end result, you get there much faster because you can rely on what you hear, and because it's so clear what you hear, that's like, oh no, this is not the way to go because it sounds rather bad. No, this sounds more pleasing. So it's well done.
Thank you. It is a comment we get quite often from the professional sphere, is that they say that is just much easier to work on and much easier to make mixing decisions and so on. And I think that also that it's not just musicians who are sitting performing music. In a way, there is a performance aspect to mixing and producing as well, which is that you're hearing and you're saying, okay, well, I would like to achieve this kind of effect, and if you have to sit there twiddling knobs for too long, you've actually lost that spark where you were trying. If you have to fight either how an EQ responds or how you hear the EQ respond, and you have to second guess these things, then you simply cannot get the same result. I recall having this discussion years ago with when digital equalizers became more common, and everyone was talking about, but that digital EQ sounds so much more like this, and this one sounds so much more like that. And then someone else had done a double-blind listening test where two such equalizers were set to exactly the same curve, and they were indistinguishable. And my takeaway from that is that it was purely the user interface aspect of the two that was so different that it was much more intuitive to sort of grab hold of a knob and get it to do exactly what you wanted to do. That was what mattered. So it's not the fact that at the same setting the two sound the same, but that the user interface is such that with one of them you don't even arrive at that setting.
Yeah.
And the same must be true, I think, with the acoustic feedback that you get through a pair of speakers.
Yeah, another thing what we already discussed is moving forward to more convenience to get the younger generation on board. Well, I think that the Kii 7 is a very nice proposition moving forward to that in that degree, because you get just a pair of speakers and you can stream your favorite music. What more do you want? What more do you need?
Not much in my view. So the only reason why my pair are still also have a wired connection is because on occasion I want to watch a YouTube video on the PC and hear what they're saying. Yeah. But otherwise power cables are all you need to get them running, and it's also been a very satisfying project to do. I have to say, in particularly the whole wireless thing, because we just use standard Wi-Fi, but Wi-Fi doesn't really give you much in the way of a handle how to time the speakers so that they play perfectly in sync, and we manage that magnificently. So it really works with an extremely precise synchronicity. But just doing that is one of those glorious moments of geeking out on a small problem, and then in the end just have something practical to show for it.
Yeah. Developing the Kii 7, what was your biggest challenge doing that? Or biggest problem that you had to overcome
on the Kii 7? Well, you know, if I'm going to be brutally honest here, and actually show that I'm not always as clever as I make out. So during our previous a previous talk about active speakers, I sort of deliberately said that well, if you are building an active speaker, you're just gonna do a sealed cabinet period. But actually actually at the start, when it started on the Kii 7, I was trying to think, can't I push a bit more SPL out of it using a port and then a port tune at such a low frequency and such a small cabinet? Not fun at all. And then finally realizing this is actually just the wrong type of technology for an active speaker. So I'm now presenting it like it is obvious wisdom. It wasn't obvious when I started. For the Kii 3 it was fine because it's got 4 woofers, it plays loud enough. But for the Kii 7 I just wanted to get a bit more oomph out of it. And then now it actually turns out that the improvements that I've been able to make on the excursion limiter are such that really you don't really miss the extra SPL. I mean, of course, if you have the big Kii system with the Kii 3 and the BXT under it, and then you compare, well, that's a different ballgame, of course. But,
of course.
But the Kii 7 has nothing lacking in the bass department.
No, you're quite right. It's an astonishing product. So thank you for talking us by. No.
Oh dear.
No, it was very interesting. So now we know everything, almost everything there is to know about the Kii 7 system. So if you're into a new kind of product, just 2 active speakers where you can stream your audio to, then take a look and listen to it. It will be worth your while, as they say. Yeah. Thanks for joining this Tech Talk.
Thank you.
Bye.